Welcome to Wisdom Wednesday number 76. What are the 8 limbs of yoga? Questioner. What are the 8 limbs of yoga? Are they all we need to find enlightenment? Okay. Yes, the 8 limbs of yoga. 8 limbs of yoga is called Ashtang Yoga. Ash means 8 and ang means limb. The 8 limbs of yoga. So when you move through each of the limbs, you are systematically clearing the rajas and the tamas out of your system so that more sattwa unfolds and reveals, and that you live in more sattwa. So you need a system, and yoga has developed a system for this. And it's a pretty foolproof system if you make it part of your lifestyle practice. So you're learning to, from external, from the world, the external worlds and world of forms, you are learning to turn the attention on the inside eventually towards the source of yourself. From the objects on the outside world to the internal, the source of who you are. So that's the purpose of the 8 limbs of yoga. The first limb is called yamas, and there's 5 yamas, and that's our relationship with the external world. We are practicing what is called restraint in the yamas with our energies. We have different types of energies in relation to the external world, and if you don't have a yogic perspective, you can drain your energy, you can lose your energy, you can abuse your energy, and you can create a lot of karma for yourself if you don't know how to direct and cultivate your energy in relation to the external world. So we take each limb and understand what each of the yamas are. The first one, say, being ahimsa. So, for instance, if you have a violent nature or are behaving violently, through the practice of restraint in this particular one of the yamas, then you will eventually purify your energies that are going outward, and you are decreasing your karmic impact on you. So from violent energy or violent behavior, you now become more sensitive to that particular area. So violence might turn into love or understanding or protection or something like that. So the second limb is called the niyamas, and there's also 5 of those. And they are, once you have purified your energies in relation to the external world, now your energies are freed up to work on your inside world, which is relating to your mind. And so we still are reducing your tamas and your rajas, so the sort of the lethargic, dull type of mind and the agitated rajasic mind will turn into more clarity, understanding, incentive, purpose. So now you're going to apply activities, special activities for your internal work. So that's the niyamas. The third limb is asana, and that's your yoga, hatha yoga practice. It's any form of physical activity that you are also reducing the tamas and the rajas. You might have lethargy in your energy system. So when you do your yoga, it stretches and strengthens the muscles and your attention. And so your energy gets purified of the rajas and of the tamas and transforms into more sattwa. And then when your energies are cleared on the physical level, on your physical body level, then there's the next limb, which is the pranic limb. So that's called pranayam. We do exercises for the breath. So the breath is subtler than the physical body, but the breath is between the mind and the physical body. So if you can control the breath, you can control your mind. You can also control the effects happening in your physical body. So as you cleanse the channels in your physical body through Hatha Yoga, you've purified a lot of them, but pranayam works on more of the subtler channels. And so you need to do a lot of different breathing exercises, stretching it, strengthening it, lengthening it, so that all those other channels open up into more sattva. Then your fifth limb is a pratyahar, which is the withdrawal of the senses. So now that everything's kind of opened up, and your senses are dependent on the pran. So if your pranic body is active, being busy, then your senses are busy. If your pranic body is calmed down, your senses can calm down. So now you're going into pratyahar. You are calming down the senses because the pran is now turning inward. And that becomes an inward journey, and you're turning it from outside to inside. That's pratyahar. And then we're going to go into the last three limbs, which is dharana, dhyan, and samadhi. Dharana is concentration. So at first, now that your body is still due to your Hatha Yoga and your pranayam and energies are all still, and your senses are not active right now, then you can start doing the work of placing your attention on one point, one object of your attention, like the breath or a candle or a mantra or something like that. But in dharana, it's agitated, it's still active, it's still not able to go into a flow like you do when you go into the seventh stage or the seventh limb, which is meditation, where there's a continuous flow of attention. It's like you have become attention. Whereas in dharana, you're distracted by external things. So there's a time period that you need to go into the dharana period, and it turns into dhyan, which is meditation. And that is a continuous flow of you are becoming attentive to the one who is observing and watching the breath or the object. You're becoming more and more aware of that one. So there's a strength in the watcher that's being developed in meditation. And the last limb is the limb of samadhi, and that is the vision of oneness. So now that your attention has become really, really still in the most sattvic level, there are many stages of samadhi that you pass through that get subtler and subtler and subtler. So you are at this point holding your attention on the source of who you are, the watcher. So in meditation, you were becoming more of the power or the sense of watching. Now there's no division between the watcher and you. You, watcher, are all one being. And as I said, there are subtler and subtler levels of this stage as well. So you are transforming your intellect, the buddhi, or the intellect, which normally attends forms, and now that's becoming formless, and now it's attending the formless self, the source of who you are. And in that state, it is a vision of oneness, and it is also a state of bliss. And after you have completed, which you never really do, as long as you're living in a body and you're living life out for a period of time, these limbs are not actually sequential, even though we talk about them in a sequential level. They are actually, we attend all 8 of them all the time. And there are times you may focus on one limb more than another. But ultimately, as a yogi living the yoga lifestyle, you are constantly creating more sattva, removing the tamas and the rajas in all of these 8 limbs and becoming more sattwic, so that karmically you have nothing on the outside that's ever disturbing you, and that you are free now. Your energies are all freed up so that you can focus on the thing that gives you the most satisfaction, which is ultimately the state of bliss. And that is the connection of, or the unity of all things, so that when you go out into the world, you are seeing it all as your own self. So I hope you'll join sometime. I have Patanjali on Thursday nights from 6:30 to 8:30 to 9 o'clock. And you are all welcome to join Patanjali, and we will be talking about the 8 limbs of yoga for this fall season. See you in next Wisdom Wednesday. Bye.